Alright, what is going on guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today what I've got for you guys is another episode of the DC Dose. Today we have some pretty fun news to go over. Recently we did get some casting news for Season 2 of Stargirl. So yesterday, in the midst of all of the awesome suit reveals, we also got some casting news for two new villains for Stargirl Season 2. We have both the crazy cosmic threat of Eclipso, as well as the slightly more grounded but equally devious character of the Shade. So I have a few articles pulled up. The story was first posted by Deadline, and then DC Comics picked things up and gave us a few more details on what we can expect from these characters in Season 2 of Stargirl, and then one final article going a little bit more in depth on a mysterious character that we do have a casting for, but we don't know exactly who the actress is going to play. So without any further ado guys, let's just jump into these articles. Alrighty guys, let's kick things off where it all began. The story was first broke by Deadline, and now I will be linking all of these articles down there in the description if you guys want to go check them out for yourselves. But the article starts off by saying exclusive. DC Stargirl has found its Eclipso and the Shade, two of its primary villains for the series' upcoming Season 2 on the CW. Nick Terapy will play the series' regular role of Eclipso, and Jonathan Cake will recur as the Shade. Additionally, Yisa Pinero, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right, will recur as an undisclosed DC character. So this is some pretty awesome casting, because if you guys think that these actors sound kind of familiar, Nick Terapy actually ended up playing Captain Boomerang over on Arrow, and I think he actually ended up popping up on an episode of The Flash as well, so very cool to see a familiar face returning to the Arrowverse. As far as, what's this guy's name, Jonathan Cake, playing the Shade, he actually played Blackbeard on Legends back when they did that pirate-themed episode, so I haven't seen him in anything else other than that, but again, very cool to see yet another familiar face returning to the Arrowverse. And moving into this undisclosed character that we have Yisa Pinero playing, again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this undisclosed character might not be so secret. I'll get back to that in a little bit. I did see a couple of things earlier today. I have another article pulled up that kind of shines some lights on that, but if you guys were paying close attention to some of the things in the old JSA archives last season, then you guys might know where I'm going with this one. But yeah, the secretive character, the mystery character that this actress is playing might not be such a mystery. The final thing I wanted to mention from this article, Jeff Johns teased a couple of things back from New York Comic Con. We have a couple of quotes from him. He said, "Eclipso is so terrifying. I've always loved the character, and he's a very different antagonist or villain than the Injustice Society of America." And then moving on to what he said about the Shade, he said he is the most powerful of them all, and very threatening because no one knows exactly what he wants. So I think this is very interesting because if you guys do know anything about the Shade in the comics, he's this character that kind of rides the line on, like, is he really good? Is he bad? You obviously know that he is often portrayed as a villain, but then sometimes he is also portrayed as the protector of Opal City, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. So I think that the Shade will probably be one of the most interesting villains, and maybe not so cut and dry and so evil right on the surface level as somebody like Eclipso. Alright, moving over to the DC Comics article, this is them just kind of reiterating what we saw on the Deadline article. As they obviously said here, Deadline did kind of have that exclusive announcement for it, but obviously once they announced it, then everybody could take the story and run with it. And I did think that there are a couple of really interesting things that DC added, or the author of this article on DC.com did have to kind of offer up, and I decided, you know what, let's go through them and see what else we can learn about these villain castings. Alright, first thing of note here, just like I mentioned a little bit ago, they say first up, British actor Jonathan Cake has been cast in the role of the Shade, a long-running DC character who has functioned as both a hero and a villain at times. However, lately he seems to have returned to his evil roots in both comics and on TV. So again, I'm finding it very interesting that they're kind of mentioning this duality to the Shade, that, you know, sometimes he's a villain, sometimes he's a hero, so I wonder if we will see any of that play out in season 2 of Stargirl. We do have to remember that he did end up leaving the Injustice Society for a time, and then obviously, as we saw at the end of season 1, now he's back down there in the ISA headquarters. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where the Shade has been all this time, possibly Opal City. I guess we'll find out. Next up, we have a very interesting character description for the Shade, and it goes like this. Stargirl describes their Shade as a classic anti-hero from DC Comics who wields magical shadow powers. The Shade is an English immortal, described as tall and slim with an elegant 19th century way to his speech and manners. He masks the horrors he's experienced and people he's lost in all the time alive with wry, witty retorts and a false sense that nothing really matters. Man, I cannot speak today. And then this little middle paragraph here just kind of mentions how fitting it is that the Shade is being introduced on Stargirl, as he has long been affiliated with the Injustice Society. And then it also goes into talking about how we did see the Shade as well on The Flash in a past season. So I really do hope that this character does end up being a very fun one to see on Stargirl. Obviously, this character has been set up since last season. The Shade that we saw on The Flash was not the best interpretation of the character, but if, you know, the way that Stargirl has presented their villains in the past is any indication, I think we are in for a treat with the Shade in season 2. Next up, we go into talking about Eclipso. Actor Nick Taraby will be playing the role of Eclipso in Season 2, meaning that if Courtney thought people were acting a little strange around Blue Valley last season, things are about to get a whole lot worse. Man, is that a way to put it? Yeah, Eclipso has some pretty crazy powers, which include, controlling people. So, yeah. Watch out there. Watch out there in Blue Valley this season. Things are gonna get crazy. Moving on to the character description, Stargirl's Eclipso is described as physically imposing and frightening. Eclipso is an ancient entity of corruption and vengeance. Brimming with a cold, terrifying darkness, he exploits the flaws of others, reveling in the impure and sinful, sadistically feeding off of the dark side of humanity. Man, Eclipso sounds like one scary dude. And then this next paragraph just kind of reiterates the fact that both of these villains were teased at the end of season 1. Then it mentions the Heart of Darkness, or the Black Diamond, which is now in the possession of Shiv. So that is going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with that. And then obviously it then continues to talk about how Eclipso can kind of possess people and stuff. So yeah, I think some people in Blue Valley are about to get possessed in season 2. Things about to get pretty crazy. Things are about to get wild down there in Blue Valley, Nebraska. So yeah, you guys better watch out. JSA, you better watch out. I don't even know what I'm saying. Alrighty, and then wrapping up the DC Comics article, it says Taraby's role is described as a series regular, while Cake is recurring, so that's kind of flipping what I thought was going to happen. Eclipso is going to be the one that is the series regular, while the Shade is going to be in a recurring role. I kind of thought it was going to be the other way around, considering that we did kind of see the Shade in the flesh last season, right there at the end, and then Eclipso was just teased with the Black Diamond. But yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. It seems like Eclipso is going to play a much larger role in this season than I originally thought, and then the Shade will maybe take more of a back seat and not be the main antagonist. It seems like that role is reserved for Eclipso. And then, yeah, things wrap up over here by talking about how Nick Taraby was Captain Boomerang over on Arrow, and then Jonathan Cake did make some appearances on Legends as Blackbeard. Again, we did already go over that, but yeah, it is very cool to see some returning faces to the Arrowverse, or I guess now the CW-verse. Alrighty, and finally getting back to that mysterious casting that I mentioned earlier on in the video, it seems like this actress will actually be playing the character of Jade, and for you guys that don't know, Jade is the daughter of the first and original Green Lantern, Alan Scott. So yeah, this just kind of goes into talking about how we obviously had the Green Lanterns teased to us, or the Green Lantern, whatever you want to call it, Alan Scott's lantern teased to us last season in kind of all of that JSA memorabilia. So yeah, it's very cool to see that we are going to be getting a character on the show that is related to the Green Lanterns. And yeah, this is a character that people have kind of speculated that we would be seeing at some point on the show, and I think Jade will fit in very well with the rest of the heroes of Stargirl. And then one last thing here in the article that I thought was worth a mention, it does say that there have been several iterations of Jade, some where she's needed a power ring and others where she can directly control her green energy power without needing a ring or battery to recharge. Now, we obviously did see that Green Lantern battery earlier on in season 1 and stuff, so yeah, I wonder what is going to happen with this version of Jade. Will she need it? Will she not need it? I guess only time will tell. But with all of that said, guys, as I mentioned before, all of these articles will be linked down there in the description below if you do want to go check them out for yourselves. And with all of this casting news, this gets me just even more excited for season 2 of Stargirl. If you guys have seen any of my reviews for individual episodes or even my full-on season overview video, you guys would know how much I absolutely loved season 1, so I am equally as excited for season 2, if not more, and just all of these castings and the more information we get for season 2 of Stargirl makes me even more excited, and I cannot wait to see this season when it finally drops. And with that, we now have castings for 2 brand new villains coming in season 2 of Stargirl in the form of the Shade as well as Eclipso, and then a possible new member to the JSA in the form of Jade. So I want to know what you guys thought about all of this down there in the comments below. What did you think of these castings? Which one was your favorite? And what other characters would you like to see pop up in season 2 of Stargirl? Let me know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.